This caster, aka Batman. Check it out, man. I made a video not too long ago. If you're not aware, what the prison systems are doing is they're phasing out the SMY or protective custody sections of the facilities, and they're incorporating those inmates into general population. So everybody's going to be mixed up doing their time alongside one another to some degree, right? Now that's assuming that the inmates just accept it and don't clean house. When in all reality, they're not going to accept that, bro. We've been carrying ourselves in a certain manner. We've been operating with a certain structure that disallows child molesters, disallows rats, so on and so forth, bro. Even a charge like arson can have you, end up winding up being PC'd or locked up or SMY, bro, because you set something on fire and that fire can spread and it can kill innocent kids. Now, these aren't petty-ass rules that are just based on absolutely nothing. These are rules amongst the inmate populace that are based on logic, honor, and integrity. You know what I'm saying? I know a lot of people are like, criminals are criminals. It's like, wait a minute, bro. Somebody that steals a candy bar from a liquor store is a lot different in comparison with an individual that rapes a toddler. Real shit, homie. You can't compare the two, bro. All right? Now, the person who touches kids and stuff is statistically proven. They continue preying upon kids. There's a 99.7% reoffending rate, which means that any sex offender that's ever been caught touching a kid, raping a kid, child pornography, so on and so forth, bro. Any single one of them that's ever been caught, 98% out of all of them never rehabilitate, bro. So, like, let's say out of 1,000 child molesters, bro, 998 of them will continue molesting children and raping babies till they die, fool. No matter what you do, you will not be able to change those child molesters. It's a sickness within them, and it's statistically proven. So you got a lot of people coming out and they're saying, wait a minute, they're human beings too. Or they're also saying, well, wait a minute, I got a family member or a homeboy or a friend that's busted, and I don't want him to have to catch more time because of these child molesters and rats. And I understand that aspect of it. Big time, homie. You got to put yourself in other people's shoes. I don't do dope, homie. I don't rob people. I don't slang dope anymore, bro. But there was a point in time where I was running them up. I'm a violent felon, which means I have felonies on my record. Not just petty felonies like possession of dope years ago before the Realignment Act, Prop 47. Nah, I'm speaking about violent felonies like kidnapping, conspiracy, felony assault with GBI means great bodily injury, so on and so forth, bro, and a lot of other charges. I was facing a life sentence at one point. So I understand what it's like to get yourself into a position to where you got to do time and then not want to dig yourself a further hole or not want your family members or people you care about to have that situation be made worse, you know what I mean? But in all reality, you got to think about it. All these child molesters, all these rats, rapists, so on and so forth, the SMY yards, the PC yards, before they started doing this with the prisons, they were getting big, really big, to the point to where they haven't outnumbered the actual good mainline inmates yet, but they're on their way to doing so. It's rapidly approaching that level or that degree. Now, what that means is about 5 or 10 years, if nothing changed and the prisons didn't start doing this shit, what would happen is the SMY or the PC yards would be like 2 or 3 times bigger than the regular yards. The inmate population regarding the SMY or protective custody inmates would be a lot larger in comparison with the general population or mainline inmates, meaning the inmates with good names that aren't child molesters, that haven't ratted. They got themselves in a position legally, but they chose to do the time because they know they were doing something wrong at the time. That's what you do as a man. When you're knowingly doing something illegal and you end up getting caught for it, you be a man about it and you face the repercussions like a man. You don't got to rat. You don't got to throw somebody under the bus because you don't want to face the penalties that you knew you had coming, bro. It's not like we're dated from Star Trek and we're oblivious and we got blank stares, homie, and then we end up getting caught doing these things. We're like, well, I don't know what I was possessed. No, fool, come on, homie. We gotta be men. We gotta be grown women about this shit. We gotta be adults about this shit, man. I don't care if you're a woman. I don't care if you're a man. I don't care where you're from. I don't care how old you are. We gotta evolve. But I do understand when you're young, we make mistakes. I was running amok in the fast lane. I was slamming dope, robbing people. I didn't have no level-headed, sober family or any home or resources or anything. I felt like I had nothing to lose, and I was in the fast lane for real. And I know there's other people in that same position, and they might be busting. And I don't wish them to have a harder time, homie, when they're doing their custody time. I don't want them to pick up more cases because of these child molesters and rats. Okay, I wanted to clarify that shit. That's the meat of the story, bro. That's the pillar of this, bro. Real shit. That's the priority. How is this going to affect individuals who aren't evil, who aren't child molesters, who aren't rats, homie, who don't make the decision to break the law over and over again and then throw people under the bus, you know what I mean, to get out of the repercussions, bro. People like that, them creeps and no good lames, homie. We don't care about them. How does it affect good individuals that are possibly doing their time or people that have family inside, homie? That's what I wanted to touch down on. I also wanted to go ahead and clarify there is some shit popping off since all this has gone down, homie. So check it out, man. More than a half a dozen people protested outside the California Rehabilitation Center in Norco 2 days after a riot that they claim was caused by a new state policy that went into effect earlier this week. That's the policy I'm speaking on. the basically hybridization or incorporation of SMY and protective custody inmates into general population or mainline inmates. Anyways, his life is in danger, said Desiree Rubio of Ontario. She's talking about her husband, who's incarcerated at the Norco facility. He has about 2.5 years to go, and we've come this far to have this happen. Rubio is referring to a new policy by the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation in which a general prison population is being reintegrated with those with sensitive needs. In other words, the general prison population will be sharing facilities with those prisoners serving time for child molestation or those who have cooperated with law enforcement. Now, what she's saying is about her husband, you're putting both of them at risk. It's like putting a cat in a dog's cage, so you're putting his life at risk. It's like, wait a minute, bruh. She's arguing for her husband, who's obviously in there either for molestation or he's ratted at some point and he's, SMY or PC, and she's worried about him being placed in jeopardy. You know what I'm saying? I understand people are going to worry, but you got to think about it this way also. How old are we? Have been on this planet for multiple decades? Have we been repeating our mistakes over and over? Are we 30, 40, or 50 years old and still running them up, slanging dope, poisoning our community, trying to make that fast money, not giving a mad-ass fuck about our family or a fellow man? When people are young, we're going to make mistakes, but we have the odds against us. We have the racist elite plotting our demise, bruh. Gangs don't manifest from thin air. Poverty doesn't pop out of left field for no reason. It's a direct product of corporate greed, bruh. But we can't put a stop to those world-destroying cycles, that racist world destroyers, homie. We can't put a stop to that corporate greed, the capitalizing on slave labor overseas, that pulls vital resources from geographic areas, creating impoverished regions. We can't put a stop to any of that if we're on dope, if we're selling dope, if we're distracted, delirious, if we're obsessed with fast money, so on and so forth. But if we're repeating our mistakes, we got to evolve, homie. It's now or never, homie. It's go time, bro. I mean that shit, homie. Real. Anyways, there was a riot reported on Tuesday at CRC at approximately 3 p.m., which was quickly quelled by staff. CDCR Press Secretary Vicky Waters says that no staff or inmates were injured. But protesters like Rubio, who was speaking about her husband, she also wonders if this is true. Because she's seen some of the guards. Check this out. She says, I saw a few ambulances with inmates inside, as well as guards. Rubio said, why was there an ambulance here? And why was there an inmate in there? So, of course, the facility's going to kind of cover it up and minimalize it. The riot that popped off after all this bullshit with the hybridization or integration, you know what I mean, with different inmates. Supposedly said there was no injuries, but we got individuals and eyewitnesses saying there was people in ambulances, including guards. So some shit did pop off. Some people were most likely injured, bro. And in all reality, man, this is to be expected when it comes to integrating these child molesters or rats in there. What the inmate populace or the homies or the brothers, everybody got to unite, bro. I know everybody's so stubborn. Everybody's like, nah, man, we can never unite with the blacks. Oh, blacks can never unite with Mexicans. Oh, we got to stay stubborn, and we got to be proud of our skin color, and we got to be at war with one another, and we got to make our feria by poisoning the community and slinging dope because it's just the way it is. And I'm like, hold on a second. What do you mean just the way it is? Keep things just the way they are, and everybody's going to die. And there's just going to be a bunch of racist pedophiles running shit because everybody else is going to have been eradicated. The racist elite have major resources and armies at their disposal. They're not all obsessed with the fucking meaningless aspects of life while being at each other's throats, homie. They're obsessed with the poisonous or world-destroying aspects, but they're united to some degree, bruh. Look at them, man. The racists are working together, fool. That's why we have this individual in a position of presidency that we do. So if you think that we can slang dope, be at each other's throats, sabotage each other, and poison our own community, and somehow raise up against this invincible fucking army of racist pedophiles, bruh, when the odds are already against us, man, you're pretty much just shooting everybody and yourself in the foot. We can't keep doing things the same way over and over again, bruh, and just expect things to magically stay the same or get better. Shit will get worse. We will be eradicated. Destruction will happen, homie. Or we can unite, we can evolve, and we can set our impulses aside and do things in a logical, solution-based manner, fool. Fuck the overgrown toddler bullshit, homie. Fuck having what we want. Fuck feeling powerful or like we're above the next man, fool, when it comes to our own. That's bullshit, bruh. We're all on this planet together, and to stop ourselves from being eradicated, we gotta unite, and we gotta evolve, homie. Real shit. That means no more fucking drinking alcohol and being delirious and then claiming it's okay because you like it, fool. Alcohol causes terrible shit to happen in this world, fool. Marijuana doesn't. Not one documented case of marijuana causing people to rape their own toddlers to death. Alcohol, thousands of documented cases. Methamphetamine, thousands. Pills, all that shit, thousands of documented cases. Irrefutable proof and evidence, bruh. Not only from a legal standpoint, but from a homie standpoint, from a brother standpoint, from a hood standpoint. There's documented proof and evidence that them substances cause people to wild out and rape their own children and do horrible things, bro. Not marijuana. So if you want to keep pushing and selling a substance that causes that kind of shit, and you want to keep engaging in or doing a substance that causes molestation and rape of children and horrible things and helps keep the racist leading positions of power, and you want to argue for that and think that you're a real G doing that, Holmes? Come on, man. We're only accountable based on our awareness levels, right? So the more aware we become, the more accountable we become. The minute you're aware that that's what the cycle of selling dope and doing dope is doing, causing horrible sexual things to happen to children and keeping evil, racist individuals in major positions of wealth and power, and it's eventually going to lead to the eradication of you and everybody you know and love. Once you become aware of that fact, bruh, you become obligated to acknowledge it and evolve, homie. Real shit. That's how we be a real G, homie, on the front lines, fool. Not giving a fuck about ourselves, fool, but giving a fuck about everything and everyone, homie. Real. Hit that notification button, though, if you haven't already. Let me know what you think of the situation. I think that this is inevitable. Like I stated before, the SNY yards and PC yards were growing so big, they were going to outnumber the other inmates and eventually devour them, so this had to happen to some degree in some way. I think that rules and infrastructure can be incorporated to keep homies from catching major time. I think that non-life-threatening injuries and basically intimidation tactics and motivation tactics can keep these individuals from being housed with us, bro. Make it physically impossible to house them with us, but don't whack them in the process. Bam! There we go, homie. Solution-based, logical thought processes is what we need to be exhibiting. Hit that notification button, though, because we're on that Frankenstein grind 24/7.